All right, everything looks good. My hair looks good. Yeah? Can we get started? All right, lovely to have you guys. I hope your day is going well. We're going to spend about an hour, hour and a half chatting, answering your concerns, questions, objections you're dealing with, situations you get stuck with. My goal is to help you become better at what you do, enjoy it more, of course, make more money, help more clients. And we're going to do that all in 1 hour. Challenge accepted. So let's get started. I have a couple of comments I wanted to show you. I have an idea for you that involves a bunny. I will tell you an update about the boot camp. We're going to talk about what's coming up on Friday. There's all kinds of cool stuff I have lined up for you. So I appreciate you being here. Let's get started. Miss Lisa posted a comment, says, today was full of no's. Not my best day. And what followed was a great set of comments. What happens? Because we all have days like that. When you just keep plowing through it, you're working, you're prospecting, you're trying your best, and yet you just can't get a single yes. It feels like you're not going anywhere. And there are several parts to that every single one of you, me, everybody deals with. It's not just part of this crazy real estate business and part of this industry. And part of what we have to do is put up with a lot of rejection, but it's part of life. That's just how it is. Whether you're 10 or 50 or 100, whether you're entrepreneur, solopreneur like you and I, or you work for somebody, it doesn't matter. You're going to deal with rejections and no's all the time. Dating, remember that? Remember? Feels like it's been quite some time. So what do you do? First, you have to look at it from a perspective of it's just part of doing business. It's just part of being out there. The fact that you're out there, Lisa, and everybody else, you guys, the fact that you're willing to get out there and be ready that occasionally people will be rude, occasionally you will work your ass off and nothing is happening, and occasionally you're just going to keep striking out and striking out. The fact that you're out there is success. The fact that you're trying is success. The fact that you're not sitting on your butt passively waiting for the phone call or the email or the lead to come in, but you're out there hustling, that alone is a success. So thumbs up for that. Even my hurt thumb, you see that? I told our kids a couple of days ago, I said, we have this nice set of knives, but they need to be sharpened. So I asked them, we have a sharpener, electric sharpener, big machine. They know how to use it and they sharpen it. They did a good job. Fuck, they really did. So thumbs up for being out there. Kudos for trying. See, think about it this way. If this business was easy, emotionally, if it was easy to figure out what you need to do, if it was easy to jump in and start doing a lot of deals, do you think you would be making $8,000, $10,000, $15,000 a deal? Of course not. You would be making what Sue and Sam make selling shoes at Payless. Working at Walmart, working at Target, you know what I mean? Part of the reason why we get paid so much is because most people can't do what we do. And big chunk of that is dealing with the emotional roller coasters we have to deal with. So kudos. Get your mind back. It is not that you're going to get knocked down, it's how you react afterwards. Because it would be justified and cool and understandable to say, you know what, fuck, I'm not dealing with this anymore. I'm not getting up for another punch. I'm not getting up for another no. I'm not getting up, period. Many people would understand. Many people would accept it as, yeah, of course, yes. But not you and I, especially not me. You know I would yell at you. You know I would tell you, come on. You got to get up. You got to try again. Because think about the bigger picture. What's on the line? The lifestyle, the money, the ability to help people who need you out there. But also the self-worth, the self-image, where you look in the mirror and says, I gave my best. And tomorrow I'm going to try again. Maybe today wasn't my best day, but I'm going to go at it tomorrow again because I am not a quitter. That's the kind of people I attract. That's the kind of people I enjoy working with. That's who we are. Our little tribe here. Whether you're watching this live on Facebook or you're going to watch this on replay on YouTube, that's my crowd. That's who I attract through my crazy language and my antics and my approach. Thank you for all the likes. I see them popping up. I appreciate that. That's who you guys are. And sometimes, tell me if this is true, Sometimes I believe in you and your ability to bounce back and just say, fuck, I'm going to do this again. Maybe not right now. Maybe I need to shake it off and reset. But I'm going to be back. And you're going to be back. Because I don't want you to be that statistic that 80% of the agents quit and give up in less than 2 years in a business. My job is to keep you going. That's why I do these broadcasts. I don't have anything to sell here today. We're just talking. It's more than just inspiration. It's a wake-up call. So every Tuesday, we're going to have a little wake-up session together. Cool? So that's the mind part. Now, what helps me is sometimes just back off a little. Go for a massage. Go for a run. Go on the pre-core. Do a little yoga. Play with my kids. Play with my cat. Find what soothes you, what resets you. And then go at it again. Now, from the marketing / real estate / strategic perspective, when you get a no, can you guys see it? Is it visible? It's right here. Okay, it's a bit too high. All right, let me fix that. When you get a no, is that better? All right. There are a couple of reasons why you're getting it. First problem is the CDE. You got to know because of the CD. What is the CD? Remember, I talk about it all the time. Core driving emotion. That means that no simply means we have no desire to move. There is no pain, no pleasure. There is no drive that the seller has. So this one has absolutely nothing to do with you. This has to do with their circumstances, their constructs, their plans. And that's fine. Most of the people don't want to move. Only statistically, and they vary slightly by the area, 1 out of 100. So you're going to get about 3 leads out of 100, and 1 will actually move and do something in the next 6 months, statistically. Your numbers will vary, but that's just kind of a baseline. So talking to the average public, about 1 out of 100, maybe 2, maybe 3. No core driving emotion. They're content where they are. They're cool. Okay? Your ability to communicate effectively, and communication here is important, is to decipher whether these people belong to this group. So that's number 1. Number 2 is trust. And this often comes up as an issue when you're dealing with for sale by owners, you're dealing with expats, people who have been recently, somewhat recently, or right now, dealing with the real estate industry and other agents. And when I say other, I mean other. You know what I'm talking about. So here, there is core driving emotion. That's not the problem. The issue is trust. Now that trust breaks down further. Trust as in real estate, as an industry, or just you. So what do I mean by that? They don't trust agents in general. And when you encounter, especially like a fresh expired listing, they're pissed off and they're discouraged and they're angry and they're confused. You're going to get it sometimes, right? Sometimes they're friendly, sometimes not so much. So they don't trust the industry in general. They're pissed off at everybody because they blame the agents are scumbags. You people are suck. We don't want to sell. Go away. But it could also be not the industry, but you specifically. And this is the part you can address first. Because there is something about your demeanor, your behavior, your appearance, your actions or your words, or combination of those, that triggers the red flag. They want to sell. They have core driving emotion. They have desire to move. It's just there is something about your approach, and this usually happens during the first impression. The very few seconds of the interaction, whether it's on the phone, whether it's in person, whichever way they first encountered you. Ta-da! You know what I mean? This is the easiest to fix. This is the easiest to troubleshoot because you have direct control over how you come across. So start with things like, what is your appearance? Check your appearance. Make sure you look the part. The success, the money. Second, your language. What is your language? The dialogues you use. And they're easy fix, practice. That's the magic secret I do have that got me to where I got. Was I practiced the shit out of it over and over until that seller trusted me. That seller could throw anything at me pretty much other than kitchen sink. I would duck. And I would still know how to react. And today I have ninja skills. They can even bring the kitchen sink. I could probably bring it on. Come on, baby. Come on, throw it. You know what I mean? You're ready for it. It takes a few weeks of repetition and practice where you feel confident. Language, and the next thing, your mindset. What do you expect going in? Nice people, pleasant people, cool people, motivated people with a lot of core drive and emotion, high motivation? Do you expect pleasant interactions? It has a lot to do with the mirror effect. The mirror effect simply states people behave to the great degree to the way you expect them to. So how you expect people to react to you has a lot to do with your expectations, your focus. What do you expect? What do you believe you should get? Focus on these things, and this will take care of itself after some time. Here, it takes patience. Patience and follow-up. Because you already know, if they have a strong core drive in emotion, if they are a high probability lead, a FSBO, an expired, a referral, they're going to do something sooner or later. Because the drive, the pain, the pleasure will force them to. And they're going to select somebody that has the best appearance, the most confident language, connected language, trustworthy, with the right mindset. Why not you? Does that all make sense, guys? So you need to know, why am I getting so many no's? And then the last one is numbers. Just bump up the numbers. Talk to more people. That's it. Even though some of them will say no, statistically, even just nothing but statistically, you know that some will say yes. You with me on this? Is this making sense? Is this helpful? Let's look at some comments. All right, good. Excellent, good. Thank you for all the likes. Lovely. So that's how you deal with the no's. That's how you deal with the rejection. And you're going to develop a muscle. Because just by doing high numbers, you're doing it a lot, you're going to develop a certain resistance. It's just like working out. Remember, I started in November, and at first it was hard. Man, those chest presses, I use this thing called the TRX. It's like these special straps, and it was hard. My shoulders would hurt afterwards. I need to do 25 push-ups every day. Dude, it was hard. The 23rd was like, and I was shaking. Not so much. Just by repetition. I didn't change anything. I just kept doing it. I just kept going. You got to do the same. And you got to do the numbers in spite of the rejection, in spite of them calling you maybe names and punching you in the face, figuratively speaking, of course. You just got to stay with it. You got to just shield it, brace yourself, and go. And as the Chinese say, hope for sunshine, prepare for rain. Hope that people will be nice, but you're prepared if they throw an objection at you. If they're not very nice, how you stay with them. How you understand they have the right to feel the way they do. They're in a reaction mode. Because they've been through a lot of stress and a lot of bullshit that they don't understand, they're confused about. They're dealing with a lot of incompetent agents. That's why it's such a breath of fresh air when you guys come in. High status agent, dress well, feel well, connected, poised, confident, competent. It's amazing. It doesn't take a whole lot of effort, and it doesn't take a whole lot of marketing, it doesn't take a whole lot of money to stand out. It takes confidence, it takes connection, authentic dialogue, a conversation, rather than reciting some shitty sales script from 1987. That's what it takes. And practice. Practice, practice, practice. Now, underneath it all, you got to know what you're talking about. You got to know the market. You got to know the real estate part of it. You got to know how to sell a house. Because if you don't, no amount of practice will convince the seller, because underneath it, you're going to sabotage yourself. You're going to send the signal, I don't trust myself. That's where confidence comes from. Now, what if you are new? You still can master the basics, join a team, work as an assistant for a few months. That's what I did. My buddy Angel and Patty, if you're watching this, I know they're still crushing it. They opened recently a new office. They're doing really well in California. Angel took me under his wing for a few weeks. I was watching him. I was learning. You can do the same. It shouldn't take you years. It should take weeks and months to get up and running and start getting business. But this is the core of it. Your understanding of who you're dealing with. Is it a smokescreen or is it a genuine disinterest? Are they really rude, asshole people, difficult people, or are they just under a lot of emotional pressure? You got to decipher and figure it out. ¿Está bien? All right. Alex has a question. Alex says, Borino, there are about 8 expireds every day on my MLS in an acceptable price range. What would you say should be my realistic expectation as to how many of those I should convert to an actual listing? Alex, that's a really good question. First of all, there is no set formula. This really varies by your abilities, your expectations, your mindset, your approach. There are a lot of variables, there are a lot of components that will impact the outcome. But here's what I can tell you. Good, solid rock stars who've been doing my system for a while, on average, now again, no promises or guarantees, your numbers are different, but on average, need about 5 leads to convert one into a listing. Now, that doesn't mean 5 expireds, because if you approach 10 expireds, let's say only half are worth following up with. Let's say only 50%. Now, this varies again by area, but you need to track it, and within a few weeks, you will have very good and accurate data with which then you can work and analyze and see where you can improve it. But I can tell you right now, if you have steady stream of 5, 8, 10 expireds every day, there are listings there. It's going to take some patience. Many of them will not convert on the first contact, Alex. It's going to take a little bit of time, a little bit of nurturing, or a little bit of follow-up to start seeing results. But if you keep feeding that pipeline, they're going to start converting, and the new ones are coming in. You know where the agents screw up? You know where most agents fall apart? They take 3 or 4 really good listings, they get 4 or 5 things under contract, they get so busy and disorganized, they don't have staff to help them. The first thing you're going to drop is prospecting. Suddenly the pipe is not full anymore. So those that were in convert, sell, close, you get paid, and then you're starting all over again. That's where the yo-yo is from. So the trick that is you keep doing it, you keep doing it, you keep doing it, you keep doing it daily. So out of the leads you have, my expectation, if you were like, let's say, my bootcamp student, what I teach my bootcamp students is how to set up systems, so you will need 5 good leads to convert 1 into a listing. That would be my expectations. Brand new agents needs about twice that many. 10 really good leads to get 1 listing out of that. Now, that doesn't require just good, strong first impression and a good first connection. That also requires an organized, systemized follow-up. That's what we do in the bootcamp. Speaking of bootcamp, might as well tell you, we opened the page. If you are curious about bootcamp, let me show it to you real quick. You can buy anything there. You can only register for a phone call with me. We're going to do another bootcamp in April. The dates are already there. Check it out. You can register. Roseanne from my staff will contact you. We'll set up a quick 15-minute phone call. You and I will talk about the bootcamp if you're curious. It's a 7-week program where I'll help you set up your prospecting, your follow-up, and your presentation. Okay, so check it out. Go to goborino.com. But going back to your question, you need to know how many, let me just turn this on. Okay, you need to know how many does it take for you? Like how many contacts do you need to get a lead? And you will have 2 types of leads, potential leads and actual leads. Conversation, no conversation, still both good leads. Still worth going after, because not everybody will be available to talk to. But you can still connect with them, you can still text them, you can still email them, you can still mail them, you can still visit them. There are other channels. You open up all these channels, you can convert them into listings. So just as a long answer to a simple question, 8 expireds a day is good. The trick there is consistency. You work them consistently. You keep going, you keep going, you keep going. Yeah, did I answer your question, Alex? Was that good enough? Okay, good. Next question we're going to take is from Miss Lisa Pell. Would you offer to do an open house for a FSBO? What do you think? Borino, the master of FSBOs. Yes, short answer, absolutely. It is absolutely a great way to build trust with the for sale by owner. Now, certain conditions do apply. Number 1, you must have enough relationship with that for sale by owner. Don't do it at the beginning. There has to be some connection. There has to be some trust and rapport already built in. So if you've been talking to them for a couple of weeks, then yes, that may be a good choice. That's number 1. Number 2, make sure the property would make a good open house. Common sense. Make sure it's easily accessible, it's in a desirable area where there's traffic, it has nice curb appeal, and it's in the price range that attracts open house traffic. Okay? Next, make sure the property shows nice inside and out, and that the seller is open to the idea. That's not something you shove down their throat and convince them. That's something they must see as a benefit. But that comes with a big asterisk. And that is when you sit down with the seller and says, look, we can give this a try. I will promote it, I will market it, I'll tell you how in just a moment. We'll put a bunch of signs out, I will have some refreshments for people, and let's give it a try. Let's do a 3-hour block on Saturday and see what happens. Now, I must tell you, I'm talking to the seller now. I must prepare you. Maybe we'll sell, maybe we won't. There's no guarantee. You know what I mean? We will bring people. Hopefully we'll get a good turnout. I will give you a copy with everybody's name, phone number, and contact information so you can follow up with them, or if you'd like me to, I will follow up with them. But this way you know everybody who was here. And then we'll see. If somebody likes it, awesome. If somebody wants to buy it, excellent. And then you do an open house. Now you got to be careful. You got to have some kind of assurance that you're going to get some traffic. Again, make sure it's in an area that attracts people. You promote it, you market it. So how do you promote it? I would promote it on Facebook. I would promote it on Craigslist. I would shoot an email, an invitation to my sphere of influence and my database. And I would also promote it throughout the neighborhood. So I would door knock, pass out some flyers, talk to some people. And that way, if you get 15, 20 people through, the FSBO will be impressed. It's a good way to do it. If you have a buyer, even better. Don't expect it. It's not the probability of you actually selling it through an open house that afternoon and that window. Not likely. Now, I cannot give you legal advice. That means I don't know shit about legal stuff. I'm a marketing guy. I'm a communication guy. I'm an expert in coaching in real estate, not law. So should you have a contract with them, and what are the legalities, and what if somebody buys it and all that? I can't answer that. Those are legal questions. I suck at those. Trust me, you don't want legal answers from me. But you do need to get those answers. So the best place would be your attorney and your broker. Get that cleared out. Whether you need a contract with the FSBO, how do you want to set it up? Cool, but as a marketing strategy, as a follow-up strategy to build more trust with the for sale by owner, absolutely do it. There are some rock stars. If you check, there are posts right here in the group from people who've done it and got listings as a result. So just look it up. FSBO Open House, check it out. Highly recommended under the right conditions. Está bien? Lisa, did I answer your question? Yep. All right. Aqua has a question. He says, once with the patients, when do you lag back? Many just say, I'm not listing with an agent. It's possible. It's possible. But here's the thing, especially with for sale by owner, and this will help you guys. They at the beginning believe, for sale by owners do, and sometimes expireds who go for sale by owners, because the agent was so shitty and because they have such low perspective or low opinion of the real estate industry, they believe they can get it done themselves without your help. Small percentage do. The percentage of for sale by owners has dropped to the lowest it's been since 1981. Out of all the transactions in the United States in 2016, only 8% were for sale by owners. But here's where it's going to get even better. Half of those were sales to somebody the FSBO already knew, family member, close friend, relative, or a neighbor. That means only 5%, 4 point something, of FSBOs knew how to market the property correctly, know how to negotiate the offers and get the property done and sold. Out of 100 transactions, only 4. So that means the statistically odds are stacked hugely against them. They need your help, they just don't know it. So the statements like, we're not going to list with an agent, we don't need an agent, we got a great house, we're getting offers, we're getting buyers, is all bullshit. That's just data. Data does not support their point of view. It's their fantasy in their head. So your approach is a lot of patience, a lot of cool, helpful information, being there constantly every 4 to 7 to 10 days. You talk to them, you help them, you feed them a little bit of information at a time, you hold their hand. Because within a month, they realize, most of them, and these numbers are again different based on your area, but generally speaking, within a month they go, fuck, this was a bad idea, we need an agent. Because if they do have core drive and emotion, strong desire to sell something painful and something pleasurable, they figured out, we're done here. This is not getting any better. There is no reason why all of a sudden magically the buyers will appear. They need you. They just don't know it yet. Okay? So work them, guys. All right. Joshua, welcome to this crazy world of real estate. New agents joining us. Great to have you, Josh. Borino, I'm in the process of getting licensed, and I want to get a head start on studying home market values. Since I don't have any MLS yet, is it okay to use Zillow to learn the market values in the meantime? It's not bad, Josh. My recommendation would be to start interviewing in offices where you want to work, get some feedback from other agents, start helping other agents, help them with setting up an open house, go to a lot of open houses, preview properties. Zillow is not a bad place. I mean, you can start previewing properties just based on what is for sale right now, get to know the neighborhoods, talk to neighbors, get to know also things like school districts, other information that impacts the value of homes. But it's not a bad place to start. Your drive and your desire to learn the market right now, even before you become a fully licensed real estate agent, is awesome, Josh. That's going to serve you well. And it's one of those core skills is to understand the market, know the pricing, and be really familiar and confident talking about pricing to homeowners, because it's one of the most critical information they're going to get out of you. Make sense? So yeah, Zillow is not 100% accurate, to put it mildly, to be kind and gentle, but it's not a bad place to start without the MLS. All right? Kathy has a fantastic question. Borino, please tell us how to approach people listed as Make Me Move on Zillow. I would approach them in a similar way you approach everybody high probability lead. You would say, would you consider selling if the offer comes in and it's a good offer, something you guys would be happy with? And then I would shift in their core driving emotion. Where would you guys go? Have you found the house yet? How soon would you like to be there? What you want to gauge is how important it is. See, the problem with the Make Me Move leads is a lot of them are like, well, if somebody pays me $5 million for my house, then I'll move. The house is worth $350,000. You know what I mean? That's not really a seller. Because here's the thing. Where you live, Kathy, your house is worth, and I'm pulling numbers out of my ass, it's called a rectal extraction method. Let's say it's worth $500,000. Would you sell it if somebody offered you $3 million for it? Of course you would. If somebody offers me $5 million for my house, yeah, I'll probably sell. You know what I mean? Everybody's a seller. But what comes to play is not the price. What comes to play is why. Because the stronger the desire, the stronger the core driving emotion, the driver that makes people actually move, the less the price is important. You understand what I mean? If I simply have to move, I get a job transfer, we're getting divorced, or we're getting another baby, and the house has 2 bedrooms. It is what it is. The price is what the price is. And only market, meaning the buyer and the lender, will dictate how much the property will end up selling for. So my approach to these folks would be to probe for what is the desire. What is the either pleasure driving them somewhere else, or what is the pain pushing them out? That's how I would approach them. So if you notice, it's kind of a hybrid approach that you use with expireds and FSBOs. Because at the end, it's going to come down to their core driving emotion. Figure out what it is first and how intense it is. Why they're moving, where, how soon they'd like to be there. And then you can gauge how realistic they would be around the price. And then you proceed. Either follow up with them, start building trust and relationship, and you say, you know what, these people, no bueno, gracias. And you're out of there. Yes, Kath? Did I answer your question? Was that helpful? Chris has a question. Borino, what's your thought on broker versus agent working in the same office? Broker competitive with agent or vice versa, going after the same listings. That's a tough one, Chris. If your broker is still listing properties, is there really advantage? I don't see one. If you follow the system, whether mine, the Expired Plus, the FSBO, whatever, or you using something else, but if your approach is systematic, the broker just becomes another agent you're competing with. There will always be agents you're going to compete with, in your office and outside your office. But the reality is, Chris, you are an independent broker. Now, you may not have a broker's license, but you're an independent shop. You're like a store within a mall. You know what I mean? You're responsible for your leads, you're responsible for your listings, you're responsible for your transactions. You're in complete control of that. So I really don't see much advantage that your broker has as a broker. On contrary, he has more responsibility, he has less time, he has more headaches and more potential lawsuits hanging over his head. That's why he's the broker. You follow me? So if you systematically approach your lead generation, your follow-up, your presentations, and everything that comes with it, studying the market, practicing your scripts and dialogue so your first impression is strong, having a good listing presentation, using good marketing materials, you have nothing to worry about. Here's the thing, Chris. The bottom line is the mindset we talked about earlier. If your mindset is, there's plenty of business around me, there are plenty of listings I can take, there's a whole bunch of people who need my help, there's tons of money to be made, all I have to do is just take certain steps diligently every day and discipline myself to stay with it. Then I'll be fine. Then all this noise and distractions and all these things that you believe are negative really are not. I think the biggest obstacle so many of you guys face is those beliefs. I have to fight for business and there's not enough. And business is hard to come by and people are assholes and money's hard. And the reason I know these so closely is because I used to deal with all of them. I used to have them in my head for a very long time. How do you think I end up fucking homeless? Are you with me? So reset the mindset first. Now, maybe your broker is difficult to work with. Maybe he is your hindrance. I had a broker once like that. who was constantly holding me back, and he was in my way. Not because he was selling, but because he's very conservative. And as you guys know, I'm not exactly a conservative guy, right? So I had to move. I had to find an office that would support my ideas and my style of business, which is unconventional to say the least. Are you with me? So evaluate. Is he really a hindrance, or is it just competition? Because if it's just competition, there'll be others. I wouldn't worry about it. What I would worry about more is the mindset. And then, of course, the systematic approach of the business. You combine those two, you're unstoppable. Helpful? Aaron has a question. Do you have opinion on commission splits? Not really. Not really. If you work for a good office, you have a good broker, supportive team, agents have good reputation, the office is doing well, the split, you can always negotiate. I wouldn't worry about it too much. Now, you want to get a fair share of your hard work, but use your common sense. Don't make it just about money or commissions. You know what I mean? Good question. Glenda says, yes, thank you. Awesome. What about transactions fees? I always charged transaction fees. I think they're just integral part of my business. I had no problem charging them. If you can justify and explain it to the seller, you should go for it. See, I had an assistant and staff, and so that it wasn't that hard for me to charge extra. Chris says, I'm taking listings from my broker. Borino, he's no hindrance. I'm on the Borino train. Awesome. Well, that's all you need. That's good enough. That's perfect. All right, guys. Oh, I wanted to show you an idea. Here we are, end of February, right? March is around the corner. Whether you celebrate Easter or not, whether it's part of your spiritual, religious beliefs or anything, doesn't really matter. But here's an idea I want to give you that will help you get more referrals, connect with your sphere of influence, generate some extra business and a goodwill in the community. Here's what I would like you to do. Find a bunny. Now, when I say bunny, I mean this kind of bunny. Let me show you. This is the kind of bunny I'm talking about. And set up a little Easter event. Now, you can combine it with other agents. You can do like an Easter hunt if you want to, or you can do just take a picture with the bunny. It's not, the mechanics and the technicality of it is not important as it is the intention and the execution, where the bottom line is you get to interact with your sphere, your current clients, your past clients, people around you. You get to reconnect with some people you haven't seen in a while, or maybe even future leads you invite. It can be a neighborhood event. So what you do is you hire somebody who's going to play the role of the bunny. I'm available. I'm kidding. But find a bunny in a nice costume, and you can set it up in your office. You can do it in the park. Find a most suitable place for it, and then you're going to invite everybody. And you tell them, look, you can fight crowds, and you can go in the mall to take a picture or whatever with some creepy bunny, stinky bunny, you know what I'm saying? Or just come to the office, say hello. We're going to have some treats, we're going to have some fun games for the kids, maybe face painting, and take a picture. And it doesn't cost you a dime. We're going to have a cup of coffee, we'll chat, no pressure. And send a little invite. All we ask is please RSVP so we can prepare. And when you do these kind of events, like I recommend you do the pie for Thanksgiving, you do the Christmas, you're going to get between 10 and 20% response rate. So if you have 200 people on your follow-up, on your, let's say in your sphere, you can get 20, 30, 40 people stop by your office. It is a fantastic way to do something unique that you now can promote through video, through pictures, through social media, sometimes even a local newspaper. It gives you a great opportunity to talk to your sphere, to connect with your friends, to connect with your past clients, to connect with your current clients on a human level, not a business level. And you're giving back. You're doing something cool. Maybe sometimes for kids who deserve it but can't really get it. So think, get inspired by this. Now, you guys will probably come up with 10 even better ways to execute this. But you get the idea. Now, you need enough time to set this up. That's why I'm talking about it right now. So this way you can prepare everything. You can get the logistics set up. Not you, of course. You get your staff, your assistant, people around, your affiliates. Bring them on board. Your mortgage, your title, your escrow, your handyman, all these people around you. Let them support it financially, organization, time, effort, work. You know what I mean? Get a good photographer. Take some nice pictures. Use it. And then you can use it on a social media. You can use it on YouTube. You can use it as part of your marketing. And then you send thank you notes. Hey, it was great seeing you. Here are the pictures. Great goodwill, great relationship builder. Great way of connecting, building a bond, building trust. Yeah? Do it. Try it. And of course, let us know. Post. I'm curious what you're going to get out of it. Yes? All right. Mita says, Borino, thank you for the sessions which you do every week. It's a valuable information you provide. Thank you for that. Yes, we do this almost every week. I like these very much. I've been looking forward to it for the last hour or so. I know there are a lot of websites that provide expireds and FSBOs phone number. Which one is a good one? What do you recommend? First, a disclaimer, we are affiliated with a couple of the companies. But here's what I recommend. If you combine how much it's going to cost you per month, what kind of information you're going to get, and what kind of quality leads you're going to get, this is my first recommendation would be Espresso Agent. There are others out there, and they're fine. They're all good. And I get a huge commission. I'm thinking about retirement to Bahamas when you join them. But Espresso Agent would be my recommendation for expireds and FSBOs. Because it's a good combination of the budget, what it's going to cost you per month, and the quality of the information. Now, with that said, a disclaimer, you got to try it. Because various agents, based on their area, their MLS, and the data that the Espresso is actually scrubbing, report different results. So what I would recommend is go on Espresso Agent, use the code BORINO, B-O-R-I-N-O, sign up for a trial, you get 30 days for $29. See for yourself if you like it. If you stay, you'll get leads, you'll enjoy it. If you don't like it, just pull the plug on them, no harm, no foul. But Espresso would be my first choice. LandVoice is not bad, REDX is not bad, Vulcan is good. The only beef I have with Vulcan is fucking expensive. The data is good, but it's going to cost you. So Espresso, I think, is a nice compromise between how much you're going to spend and the data you're going to get. But you got to actually be using it. You got to be out there actually using the numbers and the emails and the contact information. It's no good if it just sits on your computer. Okay? So that would be my suggestion. All right. So that was Mita's great question. Erin says, thanks. You are welcome. All right. How are we doing on time? We still have some time? We're doing good. Okay, I want to make sure I see all your comments. Let me open this up. Click for more. Here we go. Mr. Todd is with us. Todd Pence, good to have you, my friend. Always lovely to have you. I'm glad you enjoyed the session, you guys. Thank you for lots of likes. Appreciate it. Joshua says, thanks. Excellent. Maka has a question. Borino, Jessica mentioned a FSBO package in her comment. What we included and when do we use it? I don't recommend using a FSBO package. Thank you for all the love. That's awesome. There is a package you use with the expired listings. That's the cover letter, the little trifold brochure, comps, marketing materials, and a sold sticker. With the FSBO, you don't want to use it. With the FSBO, on the first initial meeting, I would suggest to bring something simple, something helpful, something interesting, but not too complicated. What works really well is, for example, a list of websites where the FSBO should promote their properties. Simple list, 7, 8 websites where they should be on. Common sense. Bring that. They like that, it's helpful, it's actionable, and it's about them, which is really the secret to working all these high probability leads. The less you promote me, the more it is about them, the more connection you're going to build very quickly. So a list of websites works really well. Help them put a flyer together. Show them how to set up a Google number. What else would I do? Those would be the simple things. A market update works really well as well. Show them, here's a current list of all the homes listed. Here's what's recently sold. And you can send those every 2-3 weeks. They find them helpful and interesting. The biggest obstacle and the biggest problem that the FSBO face is to set the right price. I would not recommend to give them the price. I would reserve that for paying clients, and I would tell them. Once you and I decide to work together, maybe down the road, who knows? We'll sit down and we'll figure out what the best price would be. For now, here's what's going on in the neighborhood, so provide that. But as far as offering like a package, there are 2 reasons why I don't like it. There are 2 problems with it. Number 1, a lot of these packages I see are me. It's about my company and how awesome I am, and here's my marketing plan, and here I'm a genius. It's all about the agent. Especially at the beginning of the process when the FSBO is starting to sell, they don't hear that. They don't want to see that. They don't give a shit. You know what I mean? It's a self-promotion. It's going to get trashed. Worse, it's going to ruin your first impression as somebody cool and helpful and position you, just another desperate agent who wants a listing. The second problem with these packages I see, they have good, helpful information, but it's just too much. You know, there are 30 pages of how to stage the house, how to market the house, how to promote the house, how to do this, how to do that. The FSBO will, number 1, be overwhelmed by it. And number two, they'll be like, well, that's a good information. I will do this later. And that's it. What do you follow up with? You already gave them everything. You understand? So my approach, and the reason the FSBO Borino is so different is because we break it up. They still get all that, including a little self-promotion, but packaged in a very nice neurolinguistics/psychology/advanced marketing package. But it's pieced, it's spoon-fed to them at the perfect timing in the right delivery makes a big difference. So you don't want to overwhelm them. Don't worry about packages. One thing I do not recommend is you give them any legal advice and you give them any contract advice. Those are the two things I would say, those are reserved for my clients. That's a consultation and information I only consult with my paying clients. Now maybe, hopefully, one day you and I will work together, who knows? Or you sell it before that, which would be awesome as well. Yeah? Besides, if you don't do the package for the FSBO, that gives you a lot of stuff to follow up with, which is what you want. Weekly, every 4, 7, no more than 10 days, constant communication, pinging them constantly. All right. Good. Joshua says thank you. Glenda says thanks. Okay. All right, you guys got it. Perfect. Yes. A lot of thank yous. Appreciate it. Amateur says, I normally give them the seller disclosure with a list of websites. I would just give them websites. Don't do legal contracts at all. Reserve that. Make that the price. Because the legality is something that scares the shit out of them. Besides, and again, I'm not giving you legal advice. I'm no legal expert. But once you give them legal advice, you may be held liable for it. That would be just my common sense telling me stay away from that. So I would not do that. Omi says, first FSBO I converted had a small sign. Went to Home Depot, purchased a nice $10 sign for them. They loved it. I got hugs and everything. That is a great idea, Omi. I love that. That is a phenomenal idea. You know, they probably had one of those tiny little shitty signs. And Omni went to Home Depot and bought those big-ass FSBO signs and delivered it. That's a brilliant idea. May I steal it? Would that be okay if I used it? I love it. That is great. That is a brilliant, brilliant advice. Mary says, wow, great info. Well, I appreciate that, Mary. Thanks for being here. Miss Pat says, thank you. My pleasure. If there's anything else I can answer for you. All right, guys, I have an invitation for you. And again, nothing to buy. This is just a webinar we're doing this Friday with this lovely lady. This lovely lady owns a company called Eurostaging. And Eurostaging was kind enough. Eurostaging, by the way, and when I said top 10, I was not joking, was awarded by RESA, which is the stagers version of NAR, to top 10 staging companies in the United States. So this lovely lady, her name is Hannah, and some of you maybe know that this is my lovely wife. She runs a very, very successful company, staging company here in Washington, D.C., Northern Virginia. And because some of you were curious, should I do staging? Does the seller pay for it? What's the advantage? How do I present it? How much does it cost? How do I find a stager? Shouldn't I just do it myself? And all that good stuff. So this Friday, Hannah and I will just get on the webinar and we'll just chat. Answer your questions about staging, show you some cool tips that will help you get your listing sold faster, make the properties more presentable, give you a little marketing and strategic advantage over your competition, and impress the shit out of your sellers. So if you want to join us, there is a link a little bit below in the roll. I can also post it in the comments. It's going to be this Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. We're going to chat for about an hour and a half, taking your questions and chatting about staging, show you some examples, what a staging report looks like, what are the prices, and how you can use it to help people be different, be cool. So if you want to join us, that's going to be this Friday, March 3rd. All right, and it's free. Of course, the replay will be posted in a Listing University. You guys are my VIP clients, so I will treat you well. Okay, one more thing I wanted to show you. The digital review is coming. This will be the round 1, and a whole bunch have applied for it. For those of you who don't know, this is just another service. Again, nothing to sell. There's no big sales pitch for anything. I don't have a new digital service or anything. But many of you asked if I could take a look at your website, if I can take a look at your Facebook page, if I can take a look at your videos on YouTube. So rather than doing one-off, I decided I'm going to take a few, and we'll take probably a handful at a time, and I'm going to pretend that I'm your client, either a potential client or an existing client. And I would get on Google, see if I can find you online. I would check your website, just like most potential sellers probably check up on you. I will look at Facebook. What would I see there? What works, what doesn't? What are my impressions? What is good marketing, what is shitty marketing? What makes a great connection and makes you stand out, and what makes you sound just like everybody else, or it's not even there, I can't find it. So we're going to review. For those of you who submitted, awesome, thank you, thanks for coming on board. It's going to be great. Just be prepared, there may be some harsh words, because I want to be honest with you, I want to help you. There will be no service at the end, hey, use these guys, you have to figure out who to use. Maybe you can do it yourself. Some of the stuff will probably be easy to fix. Some of it may require a little bit of work. But we are in an era where people check up on you before they sign with you, before they even consider interviewing you, before they even give up the control of their hard-earned money and their property. They want to know who you are. They want to, and these impressions happen very, very quickly. So I'll show you some tips and we'll go over some ideas that will help you. If you want to be part of it, you can email me. The first round is already booked. It's going to be on March 13th. It's going to be Monday. We're going to get online. We're going to do it live. We're going to do some reviews. But if you want to be on round 2, email me at borino@expertplus.com. And please put in a subject, digital review. We'll be in touch with you. We'll schedule it. We'll go over it. Okay? Just something for my listing university peeps and for my Rockstar students, so we can check it out. All right? Great info, says Mary. Awesome. Thank you. Jason, good morning, Borino. What do you think about FSBO partnership program, where you pitch to the FSBO that your partnership program is for an agreed amount of time that it gives the FSBO a chance to sell on their own with your full assistance if they sell, let me open up the comment, on their own. If they don't sell in the agreed initial time period, they automatically convert over to a listing. This way, the agent can get a commitment from the FSBO early on. Jason, as an idea, I think it's not bad. I think in reality, this will not work. And the reason this will not work, I will illustrate with the following little graph that will make a lot more sense. And it has to do with the FSBO conviction, which goes something like this. FSBO conviction. It is eviction. I don't know what I'm talking about. All right, so this is 100%, this is 0%. This is time. Usually, now again, your mileage varies. Usually, this is 30 days. When I interviewed FSBO, it's one of the biggest FSBO sites, this data confirms exactly what I've been teaching you guys. So, at the beginning, can you see it? Yes, okay. At the beginning, day 1, for sell by owner is, woohoo, we're going to be selling on our own, saving money, we're so smart, da 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 da, boom, boom. 100% convict. First call comes in, look at that baby, look at that, phone is ringing, buyers are coming. Oh, it's another agent. Oh, the buyer didn't show up. Oh, they want to offer us 100,000 less. It's a bargain hunter, it's an investor, it's a speculator. What happens is their conviction starts dropping. Ooh, but then they do an open house. 5 people stop by. Yay! Conviction goes up. Nobody bought. Conviction goes down. A few more phone calls. Conviction goes up. Conviction goes down. And little by little, after about 30 days, they're going to hit a point where it's time for plan B. What can plan B be? Interviewing agents, staying where they are, renting it out, not selling at all. That's usually what happens. Now, this contracts and expands based on what? Based on? Yeah, core driving emotion, based on your motivation. So it can be less, it can be more, but it's usually the same. So when you offer these kind of things here at the beginning, because they're at 100%, they don't hear you, they don't want to hear you. On contrary, you're pushing them away. So the best approach in this part, when the conviction is high, is to offer tips, offer advice, be cool, be helpful, be on their side, encourage them to sell on their own. Because that's what most agents will not do. On contrary, they try to grab them, they try to convince, and here's what happens. Pressure creates pressure. Resistance. You take a very different approach. You patiently stay with them through this process until it's time for plan B. That's the easiest, fastest way to convert them. So I would not confuse them with you do this and I do that and you sell and I sell and don't worry about any of that. I would not bother. I would offer, here's how you can sell, here are some tools, here's some information, here are some marketing materials that work for me, Here is how you put together a flyer. Here is how you advertise on Craigslist. Here is how you can put your property on Zillow. Be genuinely resourceful with them. Don't fake it. Be real. But what if they sell on their own? So what? Mindset. Plenty of business. So you help these cool people. There'll be a percentage who will sell on their own. Just like there'll be a huge chunk that will end up listing. With whom? Agent who is pressuring them, who is convincing them, who is telling them, look stupid, you can't do it on your own. I've been through my first seminar, I will teach you a lesson. You know what I mean? No, be cool, be helpful, be resourceful. Be awesome, be high status agent, not attached to whether they're going to sell on their own or not. The only thing you want to be is in running when the plan B time comes. And the fastest way to get there is you encourage them, you support them, you're cool. There is no pitch, there is no selling, there is no hooking. There's just information, information, information. Be cool, helpful, awesome. Yeah? That's a good approach. That's what works. Alexi says, I feel like I can get the seller to agree to me dropping off an expired package pretty easily. Fantastic. I don't want to talk to their ear off on the phone, but I feel more rapport is needed. Any suggestion on the length of the phone conversation before we get off the phone so the seller is more comfortable with me? By the way, thanks for all the likes. Glad you like this stuff. Every FSBO goes through this. Every single one. Every single one. The only thing that changes is the timeline. Some never reach this point. They simply give up. But there's always a plan B. Yeah? Good. Now, so the conversation on the phone talking to expired listings should be short. Because the number one reason you're calling, the only reason, is it working here? Yes. The only reason, the number one reason, Alexis, you're calling is to find out if the property is sold, relisted, or if it's game on. That's the number one reason. Occasionally you will click with them. Occasionally the information, the conversation will be pleasant. Where you know how you talk to a stranger and suddenly it feels like you're totally on the same wavelength. That can happen sometimes. And it's perfectly all right to set a listing appointment or to schedule a visit, to do whatever. But don't be disappointed or discouraged if they totally shoot you down, because many will. And it goes back to what we talked about earlier. Because they're confused, because they're frustrated, because they're scared. They don't know who to trust. So the purpose of the phone call is they have not relisted, I already assume it's game on. And unless they clearly convince me otherwise, I proceed. Because they're going to throw all kinds of stuff at you. We're going to go back to our old agent. We don't know what we're going to do. We're going to sell it on our own. We're definitely not moving. We already have an agent in mind. We already have a buyer for it who is very interested. There's all kinds of blah, 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 blah. Noise. It's a noise. They sometimes believe it. But here's what I've learned the hard way. Side note. Many of the lessons I share with you guys, I had to learn the hard way. And this was one of them. It took me way too long, I'm willing to admit. It cost me way more in commissions than I'm willing to admit. And somebody of, okay, I consider myself intelligent. It's hard for me to even admit how hard-headed and blind and idiotic my approach was until I finally woke up. Here's what I mean. I would have a seller tell me, we're not selling. Get lost. And they were so convinced, they were so convincing, I would buy into their own story. You know why? Because they bought into their own story. Because the feelings and the emotions and the confusion and the anger and all that shit going on was very real to them. And it was simply not worth it anymore. You know what I mean? So I would give up. I would walk away. And then one day I'm driving, a few weeks later, a few months later, I'm like, wait a second. That's that listing. That's the dude who said he will never, ever, ever sell again. For sale sign in the front yard by my competitor. I'm like, fuck me, what? Why were they lying to me? They're not lying. They're not lying. At that moment, they're so caught up in the moment, the emotion, they're absolutely convinced they will never sell again. But a smarter agent, wise agent, experienced agent knows better. Some will never sell, but some will. Some will relist. Some will go with the same agent. Nothing you can do about that. But some won't. And I know that if I put enough of them on at least some type of follow-up, I will convert some. And that was the major shift in my business that I did. So I would not pay that much attention to all the bullshit they will tell me at first. Is it possible they will say something that clearly indicates they will not sell? It's possible. But be ready that a lot of it is just they're caught up in their emotional drama, they're believing their own stuff, or they just want to get rid of you. They just want to end the conversation, be done with this. And they figure out the fastest way to do that is tell you, oh, we already have an agent, thank you, bye. So unless the contract's signed, unless the ink is dry on the paper, I assume they're going to sell, they're going to list, I need to go after them. So if during that conversation, and it should be a short conversation, you just kind of get basic information. Where are they going to go? Would they still consider selling? If the offer was good? And would it be okay if I just swing by? But here's the thing. Even that question, is it okay if I stop by? I don't even ask it that way. I would just say, well, let's do this. Let me just stop by for a couple of minutes just to say hi, introduce myself, drop off some info for you. I don't really give a shit if they say no. Guess where I'm going to be half an hour later, or that afternoon, or that weekend? I don't care. Why? Because I always assume it's game on. Unless proven otherwise, it's game on. Maybe during the follow-up, as we develop more trust and relationship, they will be very clear that they're not selling, or their expectations are not realistic, or it's a shitty listing, or the circumstances would not make it a good client. That's possible. But until I know, I just don't know. I cannot afford to assume. And if I'm going to assume, I'm going to assume that's a good listing, it's a good seller, I want this listing, I'm going to do what I can to keep in touch. So here is my basic rule. 5 touches minimum. 5 touches minimum. Give them at least 5 chances through follow-up. Send them a market update. Send them a thank you note. Send them something helpful in the mail. Call them back. Text them. Visit them. Before you say, nada. Don't want this one. Or not worth pursuing. Yeah? So keep in touch. Keep in touch. Short conversation. Go visit them. Now, during the visit, it's good if you can develop connection with them. It's great if you can probe further, if you can discover their core drive and emotion, if you can build enough trust and relationship. Because occasionally, after 10 minutes of chatting with them, they would say, well, okay, what do we do next? You seem like a cool guy. You seem like you know what you're doing. Do you think you can help us get it sold? Or how much can we get for it? Or how long would it take to sell? Or do you think we should put it back on the market? A lot of IOIs, indicator of interest, a lot of demonstration of trust, which is exactly where you want to be. And it shouldn't take you half an hour, or weeks, or months. Sometimes it does. But it shouldn't. In general, you should be able to do this very, very quickly. Yes? Good answer? Helpful? So if Alexis, you say, I feel like I can get the seller to agree, I don't really need their approval. What they don't agree is I don't want to be pressured, I don't want to be sold, I don't want to hear some bullshit scripts, I don't want to be manipulated. I don't want to be sold or anything. That's really what they're telling you. So whether they approve or not, whether they give me approval, I don't really care. I'll just show up. You know, what's the worst that can happen? You haven't lost anything. Yeah? Takes a little more, you know, balls, confidence. You got this. All right. Jason says, great, that makes sense. Diana says, batshit crazy FSBOs don't need 5 touches. You've had your fair share, Diana, right? Oh, batshit FSBOs. Yeah, don't work with crazy people. All right. Jason is a fantastic question. Help me conquer my fear of pricing. Most expireds are overpriced. Let's use $500K for conversation. Let's say they're $50K overpriced and it's only worth $450. In my expired marketing, I'm telling them I can get them top dollar. The expireds most likely will be thinking I can get them $500,000. They originally had listed it for. Now, in my listing appointment, I tell them I can get them top dollar, and I tell them top dollar is $450. I'm afraid they're going to be upset with me with the price reality. Does this make sense? It makes perfect sense. They may feel like their other agent could have sold it at $450, but that isn't what is consistent with the top dollar. That is a great question, Jason. Here's what it's going to come down to. And I understand what you're saying. Don't assume. See, here's the thing. If they have realistic expectations in terms of moving, like there's a solid pain, there's a solid problem that moving, selling the property and buying somewhere else, living somewhere else will solve for them. Or if they have a strong desire to be near their family, or to live in the mountains, or to live on a golf course, or to get that small little condo instead of this big monstrosity. Whatever the construct they have, if then, That's what matters the most. It is the reason why they're moving that matters the most, not the price. Can the price be the barrier? It can be. But here's where the price plays the role. Don't discard FSBOs and or potential clients just because the property was overpriced. Because many times overpriced property simply means the other agent was an idiot. The other agent didn't know the market, or more likely didn't have the balls to tell the seller, look, we're overpriced. It's never going to sell at this price. It's not that it's not worth it. This has nothing to do with worth it. This has to do with what is the buyer willing to pay. Now, you as an expert must know that number. You must know what is the most a buyer is willing to pay. You must know your market. The client, the seller expects you to. It's part of your job. Just like an appraiser. An appraiser makes what, $200, $300? An appraiser can figure it out. Trust me, you for 10 grand should be able to figure it out. And if you're unsure, do your research, talk to other people, talk to an appraiser, do whatever it takes, but you need to be within a ballpark. You know what I mean? So you must know, because from there comes confidence. From there you can sit down with the seller and say, I would like to get you $500,000. But unfortunately, neither you nor I control the price. I don't have that magic power. Nobody does. No agent, especially those who promise you that, are lying to you. Now, I don't know why they do that. Maybe they're desperate. Maybe they don't know the market. I don't know. I don't want to put anybody down. I really don't know what their motive is. But the fact is, in current market, right now, the way we are right now, the most a qualified buyer will be willing to pay, and more importantly, the most a bank will be willing to lend and appraise the property for is $450,000. We're not talking about value here. We're talking about price tag. Because this becomes a commodity. Now, you need to walk them through the emotional decoupling. There's a process you need to take them through that we do in the Presentation Plus, in the listing presentation system that you can get. If you don't have it, get it, because it is all based on psychology that we're talking about now. But my point is this. Work with the expired not around the price, but around their core drive and emotion. What is the problem they're trying to solve? How bad do they want to move? What is their motivation? What is the real reason why they want to sell? It is not about bedrooms. It is not about bathrooms. It is not about features. It is about emotions that they will justify with logic. That's why when you get a seller who's stubborn on price, it is not about the price. It is because their core drive and emotion is low. It's not driving them enough. And then they use logic, price, to justify why they want to stay. It could be an emotional attachment to the property. It could be the memories. It could be the fear of moving. It could be the fear of the unknown, of the new, a discomfort of change. But it's always emotional. It's never logical. Does that make sense? So what you're going to find is it's not about the price. It's not about the price. It is about what is the real reason why they're trying to do something. And are they looking for reasons, justifications why they can't do it? Or are they looking for solutions? Because the bottom line is this. If they want to move, price is not important. Price is what the price is. You as an agent don't control it, seller doesn't control it. It is what it is. The only decision they need to make is the $450 enough to get us to that house in Florida, or to that cabin in Colorado, or to wherever? Safe haven in Hong Kong. Or where's the tax shelter thing? You know what I mean? That's really what it's going to come down to. Your job as a master communicator who is able to build enough trust so that both you and they get very clear what the hell they're trying to do is the most important ability in this. Because once they trust you, you can have a very open conversation with them. And it's not about manipulation. It's not about convincing them about price. This has nothing to do with convincing them. You cannot convince them. They either get it or they won't. It's either presented well where you connect with them and they trust you, or they don't. But they must like you, trust you, and respect you. Because if they don't, your opinion means nothing to them. Is that all making sense? Yeah? So Jason, as far as conquering your fear, you know where that fear comes from? Insecurity. You know where that insecurity comes from? You don't know your market well enough. See, if I am 100% certain, or close to it, that property will sell for $450. Now, Jim Steele had some crazy recent sales where the prices were all over the place, and that can happen sometimes. So just do the best you can with what you got. But you must be very damn close, where you know your shit. You're not going cocky in, you're going prepared. Prepared in two ways. You know the market, you know the pricing, you also know how to present it well. Because all of this needs to be presented with authority, expertise, confidence, but also compassion. This is not about bashing people over the head and making them feel inferior, stupid. This is about, with compassion, they need to get it, that they don't control the price. But you need to have enough authority and expertise built in where they trust you. So your ability is twofold. One, study the market, know your market inside out. And two, practice so that your ability to communicate and deliver this information is flawless. Those are the two things that it hinges on. So do those two and get the Presentation Plus if you don't have it. I highly recommend it. It is the best program out there. Nobody will teach you better how to do a great listing presentation than me. It's one of the few things I do really well. It's one of the few things that I was grateful to develop to help me reach the success I had. And this is not hype. This is not to pitch you on it. I just want to save you some headache. Get it. I highly recommend it. For those of you guys who have it, you can chime in. All right? I got it. Okay, Jason, you got it. Just study it, man. Just study it, practice it, follow it. And then, of course, study the market so that you know what you're talking about. Those are the two components. You have those in, you're golden. ¿Está bien? Jason says, awesome. Thank you for your help. Glad I could help. Oh, you got the whole Success Plus, Jason. Excellent. You're in good hands. You're very cool. Good, good. All right, my friends. Looks like we answered all of your questions today. Mary wants to know, where do you sign up for the listing presentation? Go to listingpresentationplus.com. Listingpresentationplus.com. Get it. It's like $197. It's all online. You get these videos where I explain to you the psychology. You get the actual presentation, which comes either in PowerPoint or Keynote. I'll teach you how to deliver it. It is by far the easiest way to get good listings. Okay, so it's listingpresentationplus.com. Mr. Sean, what's up, my good man? Any good cigars lately? I got some good ones from Dominican Republic. Really good ones. All right, guys. So we're going to wrap it up today. Was it a good session? You enjoyed it? I had a great time with you guys, as always. Lovely to be with you. I'll be talking to you on Friday about staging. We're setting up the digital review March 13th. Do the Easter, the bunny thing. Watch how cool it can be. Watch how many referrals you can generate, how much goodwill you can generate, connect with people. Post more questions. Thank you for all the love. Thank you for all the likes. Thanks for everything. Thanks for being cool rock stars. This is such a great group with so much positive energy, with such a good vibe, with so much passion, and so much desire to be successful. Make a lot of money, absolutely. Help people. Help them in a cool, non-douchey way. I love that. And I love every single one of you. Thanks for being here today. We'll do this again next week, Tuesday, same place, same time. We're doing it 9 a.m. on Pacific Coast, which is 12 here in Washington, D.C. Every noon, coffee, gone. Time to call it quits with your coach Borino. Appreciate all of you guys. Let's go get them. I'll talk to you all Friday. Take care. Bye.